Well, welcome to MindShifters Radio, and today is Thursday, April the 2nd, 2026. We didn't intentionally pull an April Fool's yesterday, but we waited around for about 6 minutes and nobody had come in, so we just decided to call it because we had so many tasks already on our plate. Welcome, Melissa. Glad you're with us. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, dear heart, and welcome, Melissa. Glad you're here. We've got a beautiful spring day here in Bristol, Virginia. Probably about 72 or 73 degrees, bright sunshine, clear blue skies. A few fluffy white clouds around, so.
It's actually 78 right now.
78? Oh, really? Didn't realize it was quite that warm, but it's beautiful. Got some tomato plants yesterday. We're going to wait a few days to plant. Well, it's supposed to go to 82 today. Next Tuesday, it's supposed to be down to 34. So we're not planting tomatoes yet. But anyway, how are you, young lady?
Are you talking to me?
Michael, you're muted. Yes, Melissa, he was talking to you, but he had his mic.
Yes. So I got your note the other day, and I hope you've got some questions for us.
Okay, yeah, it's actually, I have two questions. One, the other day you gave me a MindShifter, and I was at someone else's house when I wrote it down and left it there, and now they can't seem to find where it's at, and I wondered if you could give it to me again.
Let's see. Jeannie, is it in, if we'll find it in the notes, can we roll back in the notes?
No, if they
don't
change, it was number 13 and 13, if that helps.
Oh, 13. Well, I can give you that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just go to my notes here and the ever-expanding MindShifters list.
Because I remember thinking it was the perfect one for me. So.
Okay, here we are. 1313?
Yeah.
Okay, I can certainly find it. It's from the section on healing regulatory speech. And 1313 is all of my early authorities. And I'll just paste it in the notes so you don't have to write it down. All of my early authorities regularly spoke approvingly of me. Did your breath get held on that one?
I'm sorry, what?
I say, did your breath get held on that one?
A little bit. I kind of remembered it close to right, but not quite. So
there it is. It's in the notes.
Okay. All right. Then the other question I kind of had for you was kind of a statement and a question or whatever. Over the last, 6 months to a year or whatever, it seems like every time I turn around, somebody comes into my life that kind of seems interested in talking about, what I call the Michael Ryce stuff or whatever, which has actually been great because I not only kind of feel like I'm helping others, but as we've talked before, it seems like anytime I help somebody else, it also brings out something in me that needed to be brought out,
Yeah, it's awesome.
And, some of the people that, of course, some of the people I talk to, and it seems like great, they're interested in it and they hear it and they either get all of it or part of it or something. Other people kind of look at me like I'm crazy or think I'm just dead wrong or whatever, and of course you're going to run into that or whatever, I mean, it's not like I expect everybody to disagree with everything I say.
Right.
And it doesn't bother me. Matter of fact, I don't laugh in their face. That's not really the way to put it. I just more smile because I so understand how different I was a year ago or 5 years ago or 15 or 20.
Before you started this work, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
When I first met you back in '89, and I
Right.
looked at a first worksheet and just thought it was written in another language. You know.
I
So
hear you.
when someone, when someone doesn't get it, I just, I can just smile and think, I hope someday they can get it because I know how much it helps, I guess.
Right.
So it's never a negative thing to me. It's more of a.
So I'll invite you to notice your language each time you refer to it. It doesn't bother me. It's never a negative thing to me, and I'm not negative about it. Remember, we've been talking, well, you maybe haven't been on the show the last few days, but the last week or so, we've been talking about regulatory speech and how, if we listen to Shakespeare, he says, my words fly up, my thoughts remain below. And so if you listen to the last week or so of shows, we spent quite a bit of time talking about, actually, when Jeannie read her book, she caught several things that she saw were regulatory speech issues. And so we copied some of those. And we've been talking about how I don't speak about things that aren't firing in my brain cell structure. So if I say something to somebody, I offer it to them and they're rejecting of it and I'm totally happy with it, I'll say, yeah, I'm happy with it. I don't say, and it doesn't bother me. So when I offer the thought to myself, well, it doesn't bother me if I watch my speech, that says that that's probably a place I want to delve in and look. And the fact that you said that 3 times now probably means there's an issue around this, whether, it's people don't hear you or don't listen to you or don't honor you, whatever the issue is, it would be worth taking a look at and working on, I'd offer.
I'm actually kind of sitting here laughing to myself because that leads exactly to my question.
Oh, good.
because with 99% of the people I deal with, I literally am happy for them and wish them well and don't have an issue. But with one particular person, somebody who's been in my life for many, many years, somebody
we won't mention at this point.
It does bring a negative thing up. And I mean, I honestly can say I care about him. I honestly can say I really wish him well.
Yes.
And I really, most of the time, I really sincerely enjoy the conversation of talking to him about it. And part of the time, I think maybe he's sincere in wanting to change. But most of the time, I really, truly don't think that's going to happen or that he really wants to. And I'm not even upset about that because I know that I can only change me, and that's up to the individual to do that and everything.
Right.
But I find myself, I can't say it's anger. I can't say it's sadness. I guess that's where that's what leads to my question. And it's only with the one person. And I know I have a lot of history with this person, so I know that's where it's got to be coming from. But really, almost.
So notice your speech. You just told yourself what it's about.
Yeah. And
Anger.
I guess I don't even know what direction to go with it because I almost, he's not a child, almost like you would want to teach a child instead of, like with everybody else, I don't do this. I almost just want to say, yes, you do have issues that need to be done when he's saying, I don't have any issues,
Right.
And I don't do this with anybody else. And I guess I'm really stuck. I've tried to meditate. I've tried to do worksheets. I've tried to do everything. And I don't know why, because I really felt like all my other issues where this person was concerned, I've done pretty good as far as dealing with them and stuff because I don't have any other, I don't really feel like, I've resolved a lot, from my past with that.
Right.
But anyway, so I'm really kind of struggling with this because I know dealing with him on your work, I'm handling it very differently and I'm letting it get to me. So any suggestions?
I do have some suggestions. Yes.
Okay.
Again, without mentioning any names, somebody we both care about.
Yeah.
Notice how many years you tried to get sanity in that relationship. And it was
Definitely.
pretty futile, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you breathing when I say that?
No,
No.
I am
So
now.
I'd suggest that would be the place that you'd go. I'd go back and do some worksheets on your time together, on the abuse that happened, on the futility of trying to get changes. And, it could be, I suspect, that perhaps there are still some old goals from those early days where you really wanted that relationship to work. And I would suggest you've got Jeannie's book, right?
Yeah, so far I just have the audio is all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what I would do is I would suggest that you go through and listen to the second section. And maybe, Jeannie, you want to take over here because I know you had one of those relationships. And of course, this issue's never come up with us, but I know that, the futility of trying to get changes and the kinds of thought disorders that you formed about him and about yourself might be some good guidance to give Melissa at this point.
Yeah. I was just checking while he was talking there to see. I thought that your book had delivered. So all you've got right now is your Kindle?
Yeah,
The
I haven't
electronic
even
book?
ordered it. Yeah, I haven't even ordered the other one yet.
Oh, I thought we
I
did.
just haven't. No, I just haven't got around to doing it. I just haven't done it yet. So.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a big part of the book it starts off and it tells a vision that I had during a still point breath session of being a small Native American girl and being captured by white men and being abused. And then
Yeah.
that reflected, then the starting paragraph, it talks about my story. I got married at 16, and from 16 to 19, I kept thinking, well, if I do this right or if I do that right, then he'll be kinder to me because he was very abusive, physically, sexually. Yeah. And so I took on thought distortions, I'll get the word out in a minute. And they were everything from being used goods to being unworthy to being blind to being, or visionless, not blind, to being a fraud. I mean, all kinds of things I took on as who I thought I was based on the relationship and trying to change and do things that would keep him pleased and heal the relationship or whatever. And then later in one of the later chapters, I do worksheets on each of those thought distortions that I thought about myself. And, as long as we carry something like that that's not true about us, then we will keep drawing situations, whether it's in your case, the same person, again and again. And it's kind of like we need to heal a part of us that has a false belief. And until we heal that, they will keep showing up, showing us that part of us that we need to heal. It's kind of like tug of war, if one person has fear and one has anger and you're pulling back and forth, if you heal your fear and you drop your end of the rope, it changes their game whether they want it to or not. So there's something within you around him that keeps being resonated. And once you heal that, then he will stop acting the way that he acts. Now, he may act the same way, and you'll be like, okay, there he goes again. Or he'll have to go to somebody else because he's not getting that feedback from you that feeds whatever it is in him that he needs to heal. And so, once you heal your end of it, you'll just be like the observer of his actions, or he'll change, or he'll go somewhere else to do the same thing where he can get that feedback that he needs. So what is it in you that what thought distortion do you have about yourself in regards to how he behaves?
And notice that those thought disorders that you acquired in that relationship about yourself, now there may be some about him to work on too, but the ones about yourself, all you have to do is look in the mirror for those to come up. And as long as he's not in your life to resonate that, it's probably not going to come up so strongly. But when he comes back around, up come all those thought disorders about yourself, the ones that your regulatory speech was pointing to. And so I would suggest that you've got the audiobook, listen to the section where Janie talks about the second section, where she talks about her thought disorders, and then go to the last part of the book where she goes through worksheets on each of those. And I think you'll find that you'll resolve everything that you're still carrying around from that decades-old hurt, self-deprecation. What did you make up about you? If only I'd been good enough, I should have been able to, if only I could have, if only he would have. And they'd be that sounds like the next piece of your work and the gift that he's bringing to you.
Okay. All right. I'll have to give that some thought, because I really probably, most of the stuff I resolved where he was concerned, I really traced more back to my dad. And he was more like I don't mean to say he wasn't important, but he was kind of more like, just like really like my dad, the next step, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense. Because he was just like my dad. So I kind of went from my dad to him.
When people do the Why Is This Happening to Me Again book, and they start to get this idea of why is this happening to me again, they think, oh yes, this person's the same as that person was. So dad, and now I have another man in life that's just like my dad. That's not the why is this happening to me again experience. The why is this happening to me again experience is everything that I have unresolved with my dad, I'm going to draw a man who has those same or similar issues and behaviors. And then when he does those behaviors, it's going to bring up those issues that I haven't resolved with dad. And that's where the next level of the work is. So once you go through and resolve any, if you were really in touch with the space when you're in a relationship with him, how deeply did you want this to work out? How deeply did you want to have a wondrous relationship? And what things did you make up about yourself because it just didn't happen? What you got was abused. And then what are the parallels with dad? So the first level of the work is, so I do the worksheets around myself in relationship to that marriage. And then I go back and I start looking at, so what have I still not resolved around dad? And go to depth with that and clean that out. That's when you'll be free of it.
Yeah, because that's probably where I need to go back, because
the again experience is happening in the constructs, the perceptual constructs of the mind. It's not in the external.
Yeah.
We think, oh, that person's behavior was exactly like. Well, the truth is, in most cases, that person's behavior isn't exactly like, but it triggers what I haven't resolved. So now the unresolved energies in me are, literally, the unresolved energies in me, in the case you're talking about around dad, which probably are generational issues with, dad and children, mothers or fathers and daughters. But those issues that are unresolved in me, literally, when they're triggered into activity, those energetic dynamics that I haven't resolved, I project into my brain's image of him. And I think when I'm looking at a body, and the truth is there's no such thing as a body in the world, but when I look at a body, what I'm looking at is literally a construct in my mind painted on the inside of my eyeballs that is a reflection of what's going on inside of me that I haven't resolved. When I forgive, I collapse those images, and that's what I can drop into the underlying energies that I need to clean up. Once I clean it up, what oftentimes happens is I look at them and go, they're not like that person at all. But the picture in my mind sure was, and that's where the biggest key is to get that. The again experience is the constructs my mind is projecting from to make this image of this person. Oftentimes, when people work through something like that and clean it up, oftentimes they find themselves going back to that person and apologizing and saying, you know, here I thought it was you, and now I realize this was the stuff I haven't resolved. And I tried to make it yours. I tried to make it about you. You know, here I'm frustrated and angry, and you're doing it to me again. And the truth is, the frustration, anger that I'm experiencing is something stored in my physiology that I need to forgive. And you, with your behavior, triggered into activity for me. So when I look at the goal I hold for you and I cancel it, then that perceptual construct my mind has made up collapses in on itself. Now I've got access to my own unconscious. And you remember Carl Jung says, until the unconscious becomes conscious, it will direct our lives and we will call it fate. People who never do their work will go through relationship 1, relationship 2, relationship 3, relationship 4, relationship, and it's still happening to them again. But what's happening to them is the energetic patterns they're holding inside of themselves and projecting into their brain's image of others.
Okay, you actually said, I don't even know what you said, but you said something that actually triggered something in me that might make sense. Because I actually, not that long ago, two things. For one, I mean, we actually had a lot of good in our relationship. So, I mean, there was just, what was bad was horrible, but what was good was great. So there was both. And I actually, you said, I'm not exactly sure exactly what you said, but just not that long ago, I actually did apologize to him because I have realized how much was me, like what you said about, or what you taught me, or whatever you want to say about, you know, I wasn't angry with him for what he did. I was angry because I had anger inside of me.
Exactly.
I did not that long ago apologize to him that, you know, that, okay, when the stuff happened with us that was made me angry, well, I almost phrased
brought
that
up
wrong.
your anger.
Okay, that brought up my anger.
Yeah, we know nothing can make you angry, right?
Yeah, that I actually, what I said to him was that what I should have did when all that stuff started going bad, I should have just left him instead of staying and went through all those years of stuff. And I actually apologized to him because I said, at that point, it made me just as guilty of a bad relationship. And anyway,
yeah,
what you said,
and there's where, you know, the ultimate extreme for you to really clean this up is probably going to lie in doing the power person worksheet. Remember that if I have someone in my life who had more power over my life than I did, was not functioning from love, and I perceived it as survival, in that circumstance, and that's usually a mother and or a father, as a child, my energy field opens wide and literally just acts like a sponge and draws every energy in the environment into my unconscious, into my mind, and which is my body. And then at a later date, and this is what I hear referring to, and that's why I'm suggesting you start working with the Power Person worksheet, because it's designed to really go to depth to clean this level of stuff up. But here you are, you know, 30 years later in a marriage where, gee, you're having a good time, and one day he gives you the look, which is just like the look Dad used to give you just before he was ready to go off his rocker. And I ask you to change. I beg you to change. I rage at you to try to get you to change. And now I'm in an ultra stressed place. And now what my mind will guide me to do is do to you exactly what my power person did to me that I hated the most. And that's the next level of cleaning it up. So the power person dynamic and the power person worksheet is designed to clean up that level. Otherwise, if we never clean it up, then of course we get to play the why is this happening to me again and again and again and again and again.
Okay, I think more things are making sense. I mean, I've cleaned up like so much of the abuse, so much of the incidents, so much of, you know, like the events and all that. You know, I've done so much of that. I haven't really thought on something else. And maybe I might maybe loyalty, or the misplaced loyalty might be a better way to put it, is
Right.
maybe where I should start. My parents were married for, I don't know how many years before he passed, and probably shouldn't have been married more than a year, maybe, or never should have got married in the first place. Maybe it's a better way to put it. And I mean, like, my high school boyfriend, we were together for like 5 years and probably never should have been together. And my other relationship that I was talking about before, once it turned bad, I should have got out of it. And maybe, okay, now if I wanted to, because that's one thing I've never done a worksheet on, is maybe misplaced loyalty or something, because that's something definitely. I kind of thought once you committed yourself somewhere, you're committed, or whatever. I mean, that you shouldn't turn your back or whatever you want to call it. So how would I go about that? I mean, I'm not sure.
Well, my offering would be that misplaced loyalty would probably create an expectation of misplaced loyalty from him. And again, that would be the place to look at what were you said, gee, there were times when it was really good. And, I know him fairly well, and he is, I mean, anybody who meets him, he's just the nicest guy going, except when the stress is up and the chips are down, and then come the tough times. But to recognize that perhaps you having a father and, a whole childhood where probably 90% of it sounds like should never have happened, laying those things out and expecting him to have loyalty to you would be another place to cancel the goal and let it go.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I think you've been a big help. I think I kind of know what direction to kind of go, because I've never considered, I just always looked at kind of maybe loyalty is a good trait I had, and never looked at it as something negative or something I needed to work on.
Is it time to cancel the goal, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Actually, I think I kind of understand it. And even maybe in a weird way, I've maybe still have what I think in some weird way is some loyalty to him, that I want to fix him, which is probably not the right way to put it, but I still have a goal of thinking he needs to be fixed and his life would be better and all that. But he's not my responsibility, and he's not anything,
Yeah. And is there still an underlying goal of, wouldn't it be wonderful if it could heal and happen? Those goals that you still haven't let go of from the early days of that relationship.
Meaning between he and I?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I'm talking about the early days. I'm not talking about today.
Oh,
yeah. Are there still the 19-year-old girl's dream of, this is going to be wondrous and wonderful, and we're going to have a great life together, and we're going to do this and this and that. Well, if you had all those goals at 19 and they've never been canceled and never been achieved, they're still running in your mind, because the only way to get rid of a goal is either cancel it or achieve it.
You know what's really kind of sad is I'm not sure I ever had that goal. And the same thing in my childhood. I'm not sure there was ever those type of things. I mean, I kind of grew up at whereas we just kind of thought it was always going to be bad, and that was just kind of life.
Ouch.
And I think it was the same thing in our relationship there. It was just kind of, you just kind of was like, this kind of sucks. And you just kind of got through it. And so that's bad, I know.
Yeah. Time to cancel the goals for your life and your relationships to suck, because that's a goal too.
Yeah. And I did finally figure that out, and I don't have that in the current, but for some reason I haven't let go of that with maybe the past relationship. That I don't know. I got some serious work to do, and I know which direction to go, though. You have been a major help.
Good.
And
well, we'll be holding the
makes
space.
A little more sense.
We'll be holding the space in each and every piece of the puzzle along the way. If you need support, you know where we are.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. I feel so much better, and it makes a lot of sense to me in a lot of ways about from that relationship, and even back the work I need to do from maybe I haven't finished on my childhood and stuff, and even some stuff going on with my mom even now, even the other stuff that I mentioned to you before about that I figured out from my childhood that I was kind of, which I don't have any issue with my mom over it, but I was kind of just maybe with the loyalty thing, and I don't know. Anyway, the loyalty is I think the word I needed, and that I need to kind of go down that path. And as always, you've helped me immensely. While I got you on here, can you tell me how much Jeannie's book is and the postage is? And when I send you that other, I'll send that to you.
Okay. Well, you bought the book on Amazon, did you?
Yeah.
The digital book. Okay. Well,
yeah, and I posted a review on
digital book. With buying the digital book on Amazon, that deal's already passed, but you did it a while ago. So the $10 that you paid Amazon for the book, Jeannie will apply to the book now. So the net is $18, including shipping, and she'll get the book off to you.
Okay. I mean, if that deal already passed, don't worry about it. I did it back then. I just forgot to tell you I did it, but that doesn't matter.
Cool.
So.
That's cool. So I'm sure $18 will do it just fine.
Okay.
And,
can I send it all in one money order, or does it need to be separate?
Yeah, that's fine.
I didn't know if you.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. You were a major help as always, and I appreciate it deeply. Both of you.
Well, breathing with you and holding the space for all of those old family dynamics to just be breathed into and free yourself of it. Just free yourself.
And I'm actually breathing better already. I can feel it.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, we're holding the space, and of course, I honor and cherish the gentleman you're talking about too. He's been a friend for many decades, and I have the same experience. He comes back to me often. I want to do the work. I want to do the work, and 3 days later, he's gone. I may not hear from him for years or months. And I hear from him, oh, I need to do some work. And so I hold the space that perhaps between us we'll be able to inspire him.
No, I haven't given up, and I won't. As long as he'll listen, I'll talk. So
awesome. Cool. And of course, we teach best that which we most need to learn. So you'll be learning it on a deeper level for yourself.
Yeah. And once again, I got something out of it. So I'll keep doing it.
All right, dear heart.
All right,
appreciate you. All right, lots of love. Blessings.
Hello.
Hey there.
Hi, it's Carrie.
Hey, young lady. Welcome.
I was just listening to Melissa and thinking about my own experience a few years ago. When Michael, you remember when I was going to leave my husband.
Right.
And for verbal abuse, and how, he's my second husband, and how I realized, what A Course in Miracles says is that if you don't do your forgiveness work, you'll just have the same relationship over and over with different people. And that's when I decided that I would stay and use my husband as my teacher. So that's the perspective that I've had, and it's been amazing for me. I've done a lot of work. And I've also, when I did the power person work, I did that on my mother, and it was a beautiful thing.
Right.
And I didn't do it on my father. And now I told you, I think a week or so ago, that I bought this book called Adult Daughters of Fathers of Emotionally Unavailable Fathers.
Right.
And I read the first chapter, and I got, really sobbing. So I knew something was in there. So I've been journaling I journaled for a couple of hours for a couple of days, and some things came up for me. And when you were saying that to Melissa about putting her unresolved issues about her father onto her husband, projecting them onto her husband, that really resonated with me. So I'm
Right.
now doing the worksheets with my father, and hoping that that's going to assist me with seeing with clarity. My relationship with my husband is different because he is a beautiful person. So I feel Melissa's journey. I'm in it still. And the work I've done has been transformational. And I also see that as I've come to higher vibrational levels, that I'm seeing more and more work coming to me. So I'm grateful for that healing opportunity. And at the moment, it's, I'm going through those symptoms of healing. So I've been doing some breath work, and it's been a deeper journey. And I have a lot of compassion for Melissa and her partner, and understand that seeing with clarity and seeing the truth of what is the unlayering that I'm doing. So thank you for the shadow work.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. One thing I'd suggest is you might want to take the Power Person worksheet out and do some work with the worksheet with both your dad and your husband. And it's awesome that you're doing the breathwork program that you're doing, because that's just, that's literally where the resolution lies. I came across a statistic recently that said that in America, 60% of ambulance calls have to do with people having breathing problems.
Wow.
When you think about that, 60% of ambulance calls in the whole country are about dysfunctional breath. That's like mind-boggling, but it's not surprising, because you look at how many people are just walking around with dissociated drama and trauma. And then you hear, another one of my favorite saying that's fast becoming one of my favorites again from Carl Jung, is where he says, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to keep from facing their own souls. Their own unconscious dynamics, no matter how absurd. It's his conclusion as a psychiatrist. So you just look at the absurdities, just turn on the news and look at the absurdities that are happening. It's just, and for at least 60% of those people, it's tied to breath. It's tied to holding and locking down the breath and locking out human life. So it's awesome that you're doing that program hand in hand with this.
Yeah, it's really helped me because, that day that I read that chapter, and then I was reading outside in the late morning, and then my husband came home and he said, you need to get out. We need to go for a walk. So he took me up to the forest in Wisconsin, and we went hiking in the woods in nature for a couple hours. That was a beautiful thing. And then I still felt this heaviness, this energetic heaviness.
Right.
After those realizations. So I did some breath work and some chakra meditations and stuff. And in order for me to be able to get to a place where I could even do a worksheet. So it was interesting to observe that heaviness of energy. And it wasn't denial, it was more like a avoidance, or I can't even go there. It's so heavy, this energy.
Yeah.
So doing the breath work and some energy meditation really helped to lift me out of that place where I could actually start doing some of the work.
I hear you loud and clear. I mean, look at the fact that, I mean, who of us, any of us, had ancestors that had any clue that there was a work to be done, let alone how to do it or what the breath had to do with it. So, yeah, it gets pretty heavy when we start to tap into it and deal with it. It's monumental. And then you look at the way people clench their jaws. There's actually an interpretation, and I'm actually researching at this point to see how far back we could take it. But that directive that Yeshua gave, that the Greeks translate as turn the other cheek, appears to be more an instruction to stop clenching your jaw and breathe. You
I'll
look
buy
at how
into
many
that.
people. Say again?
I'll buy into that.
Yeah. You look at how many people, I mean, the screaming, the raging, the pain they want to express just stops right there in the jaw and just locks right in until that starts to open. And that's part of what happens in the quantum still point, is creating a point of egress for that locked in energy that's been cymatically stored in tissue.
One of the other things that I've noticed when I do my energy chakra meditations is that there is a place in my throat where the tears live.
Mm-hmm.
Of all the things that I felt I could never express, all the unsaid things, and I'm wondering, how do I uncover those things? Because I don't feel like that would be a worksheet. I feel like it would be something else.
Well, one of the things that you can do is just hum, but hum in a way that vibrates your upper palate. And that will start to open that tissue. And along with the opening of that tissue, stored in the upper sinuses is nitric oxide that, when you hum, starts to release, and that's what opens circulation in that area.
That's interesting. I really like that idea, because there is a yoga breath I just started doing called Ujjayi breath, where all the vibration of the breath is in the throat. And you only do that for a short while before you do the cobra breath, but it's I'm guessing it may have a similar effect, but I like the humming idea. I'm going to try that. Thank you.
One of my grandson's favorite things to do, and he does it just about when he, I lay down with him and he goes to sleep. When he wakes up, he'll get up and he'll literally crawl over where his throat is on my throat.
Oh.
And he wants me to hum. And he'll hang out with me, literally directing that upper palate hum right into his throat. And he just blisses out with it. And he'll spend 20 minutes there. It's awesome.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. I used to do that with my cat when she would purr. I would put her on my neck, on my throat, and she would purr there.
Mhm.
Awesome. I love that.
Unlocking the jaw is a big key. You look at that, the place where everything, it's like energetically, everything we've never said or wanted to say but never said lives behind that wall. And it needs to open. And that's part of, you did the quantum still point. That's part of what we're doing mechanically in the quantum still point process.
Is there any benefit to doing that again?
2000%, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Next layer, next level.
So one of the things that I was going to ask you about getting a breathwork certification was if you could hold an intensive just on breathwork for a certification so we could use the hand movements and then maybe even learn some of the quantum stuff. I don't know if you want to go that far, but with the still point, to be able to have some sort of certification that we've completed a training so that we can use that with
Okay.
others.
I'll put it in the hopper.
Mm-hmm. Because I have the sheets that show the hand positions and everything.
Right.
But I don't know what I'm feeling when I do that. So I know people have talked about doing cranial sacral work and how, they put their fingers in certain places on the spine, up in the head and down by the sacrum, and they feel that fluid moving, the movement of that fluid that surrounds the spine and the brain that goes down the spine. And they feel that movement. And this one woman I know, babies who have colic, crying all the time, she does that cranial sacral touch with them. And it's like within seconds, they stop crying and she can feel that pulse of that fluid moving down their spine. And they just look up at her with this beautiful expression. And then she teaches the parents how to do that. So I don't know what I'm feeling.
Send you a video of my newest grandson was 3 days old when I did his first quantum still point on him.
Mm-hmm.
And we videoed it. His mom was there and we videoed it. I'll send you a link to it.
Oh, thank you.
Pretty awesome to just watch him. Literally how he just physiologically opens up.
Mm-hmm.
His arms come up and he's 3 days old and they just stretch out and he's just like in bliss.
Because I think what I understand is that during the birth process, their little skulls need to be malleable to go through the birth canal. But that sometimes they don't reset or whatever, and that causes these headaches, which causes this crying and this colic and all of this stuff. So resetting those cranial bones and having that cranial, I don't know what you call it, that fluid, what it is.
Spinal fluid.
It's
CSF.
The cerebral spinal fluid begin to move to release that pressure. And I think it's, a beautiful thing for babies to experience that. And
Beautiful thing for adults to experience.
Grown-ups too.
Yeah. Literally the whole bony structure of the body, and I'm talking throughout the hands, the arms, the legs, the feet, and the core of the antenna, the most complex part of the antenna is the head. if you look inside of that, there are sutures, and those sutures are made so that those bones can move on each other. And when you understand that the shape of an antenna determines the frequency it receives, what happens is that motion that's supposed to be there. I mean, people think when the baby's soft spot hardens that the head is fixed. No, no, no. It better not be, or you're in trouble. The whole system is supposed to be a self-adjusting antenna, and the shape of an antenna determines the frequencies it receives. So in one shape, which they call extension, you've got one antenna, and then in the opposite end of the spectrum, you've got flexion, which is another antenna, and everything in between. And it's a total self-adjusting antenna, and at each phase brings in, literally, you go back to the scriptures and it talks about, in the energy field of the creator, we live, move, and have our being, and we're designed to be in continuous communication, a continuous exchange with that at which we live, move, and have our being. However, if we've been physically or emotionally traumatized, if people have got birth trauma, or they were dropped on their head, or had somebody used to hit them in the head, then that tends to lock up and inhibit the movement of the antenna. And until you get that straightened out, you're never going to have the energy patterns you need.
Yeah, or we're pulled
And that's
out by
one of the
forceps.
objectives of the quantum still point and the whole energy field process. When I first when I first discovered the still point process and my own breath work back, and this goes back 40, I don't even remember, 42, 43 years ago. And when I discovered that, and I spontaneously went into still point and realized the power of it, I mean, it was just monumental. And from then on, in my medical work, in my practice, in my study, and I mean, literally dozens and dozens of workshops over the decades, and in every one where it was a, hands-on type of workshop, I was always looking for what is it that induces the still point, because that's where the whole antenna resets itself and goes to the next level of immobilization. So every piece of the energy field work that you learn in the intensive is from hands-on and seeing, okay, this enhances the still point. So that became part of the whole energy field process, work process. And the idea is to mobilize the antenna so that if the antenna has been inhibited, you're not getting the frequencies you need. When you mobilize it, then the whole system is able to take itself to the next level of integrity, the next level of possibility in terms of its range of motion and the interrelationship of the whole structure. If I've got an antenna on the roof of the house, somebody comes along and bends all the arms on the antenna, I'm not going to see channel 2 or channel 6 very well anymore, until those arms go back where they're designed, because shape determines frequency received with an antenna. And you think about it, I mean, we don't use the word antenna with humans, but think about it. What's one of the things everybody knows about insects?
Oh,
Where's
yeah,
their
sure.
antenna? It's on their heads. It's right at the core of the antenna. Well, we have the same. So restoring the proper range of motion is an important part of that. And that's what the whole energy field work process that I've developed over the last 4+ decades is about. So I will put that in the hopper for probably a 9-day intensive that will be totally focused in breath and energy field work.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. And I'm in.
Okay.
I'm in.
I'll put it on the list.
I might actually go and do some cranial sacral training as well. I feel like that's a really
Definitely worthwhile.
good gift to have and give people. Yeah.
Definitely worthwhile. Yep.
Thank you.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you. Fabulous. Well, we've got about 3 minutes left. Anyone else have a thought to share with us? Anyone else got something exciting to report or question, refinement, anything about the conversation we've had today that we can add to? And if not, then let's just take a moment together and recognize that as you breathe, you open a space in yourself that I can tap into and gather support from. And as I breathe, I open a space that you can tap into. And in that community of love, we can support each other in that opening. And that ultimately, every piece of forgiveness that needs to be done involves opening something in physiology. If there's a place in physiology that's locked, then there's sin locking it. Energies that, remember, the word sin just means an energy that's off the mark. And allowing that place to soften and go into alignment is the biggest key there is to healing. So, and the biggest key to opening those places is allowing the breath to go to the place where it's never gone before. You know, kind of like the Star Wars thing, going into the universe. Well, this is going into the interior universe, where perhaps for 100 generations, nobody's been allowed to go. So breathing with you, going there, accessing it, softening, whatever's tight, wherever it's tight. Could be feet, could be knees, could be jaw, could be shoulder, could be buttocks, could be gut, chest, heart, lung, brain. So just allow your breath to move into all those places, softening, opening in unison, creating a field that is full permission to open and move into everything that's ever been locked, everything that's ever been tightened. Willingness, breath, and alignment. Breathing with you and holding the space. Deep appreciation for your presence. Blessing.